Welcome to Being Honest with My Ex. My ex is Peter C. Hayward.
My ex is SJ, better known as Honor Eastley.
We were engaged for 2 years and then we broke up. And then we stopped talking to each other for a year and now we do a podcast together. Would you have a baby with me?
If I can get you to cry next podcast, we'll have a hat trick.
You don't know this, but I have a very vivid image of what your penis looks like.
What?
If I met you now, I do not think that I would go out with you.
Oh my god, I think if I met you now, I'd fall more in love with you than I did the first time. Hello! SJ made me come on first knowing that I would trip. It was a malicious move. Thank you all so much for coming. This is very exciting. This is us, what we look like when we're not in your ears.
Yeah, we just wanted to first up just say thank you so much for making this happen, because it absolutely couldn't have happened without the people who backed the Kickstarter and got Peter on an air car and over to here. You got a lot more dressed up than me.
It's true, yeah. This is my like standard Monday night clothing. That's what I'm going to be wearing anyway.
This is my Game of Thrones wear, is it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is what I wear every week.
Yeah, we just wanted to first up just say thank you so much for making this happen, because it absolutely couldn't have happened without the people who backed the Kickstarter and got Peter on an air car and over to here.
Thank you.
So before we start, I wanted to just ask, who here is like a Peter and who is an SJ? So like Peter's, hands up. Oh my god. SJ's. Oh my god!
So we can expect a lot of tears tonight. It's really... Who came here with the expectation that SJ would cry? Yeah, there we go.
Oh my god. I even came here with the expectation that I would cry. I've already cried today. And I want to know how many episodes people have listened to. So I assume everyone's listened to one? No, there's some people who've listened to...
hands up if you've listened to at least one episode.
Who's listened to every episode? Oh my god. You guys. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why? So how tonight is going to work is we're going to do a live recording of an episode first up, and then we're going to have a little break, and then we're going to do some questions from you guys. So if you have questions that you want to ask...
SJ is paranoid that no one will have a question.
I have questions written down here.
If you don't have a question, come find her during the break so she can give them to you so that we'll have at least one question.
No, the other thing is I was like, if no one has questions, I have some questions for you guys. All right, like...
So we'll sit down there. All of you guys will come up here on the stage. It'll be great.
No, like my first...
Oh, really?
No, I really do. I was like, if no one asks questions, that's cool, because I have some, which is like, do you hear our voices in your head? Which one is the most useful?
We recorded a warm-up backstage because that's what we do before a podcast. And SJ said that she hopes the podcast goes for 20 years.
I did not say that.
Because at the end of 20 years, we'll know who won. And whose life is a better model for how you should live.
Exactly. I said like someone emailed us once and was like, the show is like someone who's all nuance talking to someone who's no nuance. And I was like, I think it's also like someone who's all confidence talking to someone who's different.
Talking to SJ. That's the binary of life.
And I was like, if this show goes on for 20 years... That would be weird. But if it did, then the audience could know which would be the best option. Like, is it all confidence, brutal optimism, no nuance, blue hair? Or is it like whatever I am?
Other.
Misk. So you can ask questions. And the other thing is, if you are watching online, because there's some people who are watching online, hello.
We have a Twitter hashtag.
Yes.
Hashtag BMX Live. Which is normally used to, it's normally used for other events. But I looked it up and no one's used it for like 5 days. I was like, fuck it, we're taking over BMX Live for like a night.
No, is it actually?
Think about it.
Oh, of course, people do that.
Yeah. And so, people who are super into biking are going to be like, wow, does he dye his pubes blue?
That's a great question. Oh, and the other thing about asking, so if you're online, you can ask questions, use the hashtag BMX Live. We will sort through all of the biking and we will find your questions.
The second half is just going to be like, which bike is best?
And I had some ideas for questions people might ask.
What would you ask us if you watched the show?
I would be like, how the fuck do you stay friends with that man? And the other question
I assumed you'd be asking me questions.
Sorry.
You want to ask you questions.
I want to ask me questions. Why would I ask me? And I would probably ask something about Starving Artist, actually, which is awful, but apparently that's what I would do. So because we're doing this live, we thought that the best way to start this would be to do something that we absolutely cannot do if we're not live.
Fuck.
That was not a pre-prepared answer. Which was to show you guys some photos.
Yeah.
So Peter and I really actually have only just seen each other again in the last 2 years.
Go on.
We've only just seen each other again. And what was interesting was that Peter remarked the other day, he was like, your fashion's a lot better than when we were dating. So we thought, what a great opportunity to go through the fashion evolution of us in our relationship.
It's really an excuse to show you some very embarrassing photos, which we're going to do now. So this is our 1 year anniversary. This is my house in Toowoomba. We're not going to do this level of commentary for all of them, but we thought we'd do this every year and then never did it again. But it's a convenient display of how we dressed 1 year in.
I don't have any of those clothes anymore. Like, literally none of them.
Really?
Yeah,
I loved that jacket. You wore that jacket endlessly.
I know why. It's awful. It's fucking hideous. It looks so bad on me. Anyway, moving on. Oh, yeah.
So, you know when you're shaving your beard, you've got to try out all the things. I got to this point and SJ was like, we're breaking up right now. And I was like, I'm keeping it forever. Because I looked, in your words, like your dad.
Oh, did I say that?
Yes.
Yeah. You do look a little bit too much like him, yeah.
We want to give you general examples of how we dress normally. And that jacket we had a fight about while we were putting the slideshow together because I've never owned any clothes that are brown. Therefore, it's SJ's jacket.
It's not fucking mine.
You know that, is it a Tumblr, like awkward family photos? SJ describes this one on the right here as a photo where every single person looks the worst they've ever looked.
It's quite something. It's really quite something.
I had a collection of giraffe shirts, as everyone should, and
yeah, you did. Oh my god.
And SJ wore black with black. This is
this is my favorite awful photo of me. I call it high school art teacher. So I used to do this thing where I would go to the hairdresser and I would be like, do whatever you want, go crazy. Particularly after a breakup. That is the last time I did that. I never did that again.
So when SJ got that haircut, we'd been dating for maybe a month. So I hadn't quite adjusted to the SJ way of being.
Fuck off, man. Like, so you would do this thing where I would go to sleep and you would re-dye your hair while I was asleep. I would wake up not only with a blue man, because you have a problem where maybe it's not a problem. You have a thing where
habit.
You tend to like not know where your hair is. Not know where your hair is and get it like on your face.
I re-dyed my hair last night and spent probably 20 minutes scrubbing today in the mirror.
Yeah, but that scrubbing didn't exist back then.
It's true.
There was just
new.
a lot of blue. And blue like all over the pillows and the bed sheets.
So SJ got this haircut and was crying a lot. And I was like...
Oh my God, was I?
Yes. like full-on meltdown. And I was like, it's a haircut. You look a little bit like a soccer mum. And that intensified the crying somehow. And I think we were due to do something that night or something, but we could not do anything until we got the haircut redone. And
Wait, and how did I get the haircut redone?
You went to anyone else, because this was a student hairdresser who gave you the soccer mum haircut.
Yes.
So this is actually after. So the before was considerably worse. Do you remember this? You went to a hairdresser and they did something that made you look exactly like a soccer mum, and you were freaking out. And I was like, it's a haircut.
Yeah, I do remember it.
It's not a huge deal. And you were like, actually, it's everything.
It's because when we did the episode where I talked to Peter's husband, Roxy, I don't know if you guys have listened to that episode, but Roxy tells this amazing story of the time where you dyed your hair and you went out in public with blue all over your face. And
that's why I spent 20 minutes today scrubbing.
And Roxy was getting really like
Anxious.
embarrassed. Embarrassed is the word.
Yes.
And
on my behalf.
Like,
and I was like,
I am
don't
out
care.
in public showing affection to this man with blue on his face, not just around the edges, on his nose. And that's
You know
when
when a kid eats spaghetti?
that's when Roxy truly understood that this man has no shame.
I said to Roxanne, I think we told this story on the podcast, like, it's not your face. What do you care? Because I don't care. But you cared a lot about this haircut, and so we could not do anything until you'd gotten it fixed. And that was my first. I think that was my first real insight into what I was getting into.
I saw a cartoon the other day that was like, oh, maybe you sent it to me, which was like, the thing is when you're wearing rose-colored glasses, the red flags don't look red.
BoJack Horseman.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a cartoon. Yeah.
So I feel like that is exactly what happened, except we were wearing like 3D glasses, but both of them were red. Like we couldn't see any red flags because everything was red. This has gone too far.
So 3D glasses where both of them are red, like say rose-colored glasses would be a nice shorthand for that. In fact.
I was trying to say worse than that.
Okay.
Worse.
And then this photo is actually one of my favorites of SJ.
Is
because,
it?
Yeah,
I thought it was your least favorite photo.
No, it's your least favorite photo. You would not let me put that online for a long time.
Huh.
Because you hated it. And I think you look like a dork, but it's also like, it's what you look like sometimes. It's not curated, it's an actual representation of you looking like a dork. This was very early in a relationship. I'd gotten a camera right before I met you because I wanted a camera. So I bought one and I was taking photos of everything. And because we'd just met, it was a bunch of photos of you. And you would go through them and be like, no, let me Photoshop that one. No, cool.
There is a Photoshop version of this, which is much better. I did Photoshop.
It's just my face on top. Let's have a look at the next one. So when SJ was saying that I like her fashion now. And it's not because it's like normal, because I don't care about normal. It's just this was what she would look like a lot of the time. And it took... This is
actually right before Jesse and Wes's wedding. Who were right there. Yeah, there we go.
On the spot.
On the spot.
Kiss. So this would be probably like multiple times a week. You would not quite this dressed up, but not that far off either.
So I used to have a small desk in my room, and that was called my battle station. And that was where I did call it my battle station.
I didn't know that.
Oh, maybe it was all in my mind.
What happened?
That's cousin Gavin.
Who lived with us. So I had a dedicated desk just for putting on makeup. So I would like always have colored eyebrows and like ponies in my hair and stuff like that.
I thought there was going to be an explanation of how you get a pony in your hair. Nope, cool. Ponies in your hair.
Used to like a lot of hot glue and bobby pins. And
You mean like My Little Ponies, yeah?
yeah, like My Little Ponies. Oh, yeah.
Not like a horse's head.
No, not a horse.
Not like The Godfather.
See, I started out using super glue and super gluing like pom-poms into my hair. Don't do that. Do not do that. Like you'll have a fringe with tiny pieces up the top.
And super glue doesn't look like super glue when it's in your hair.
What does it look like, Peter?
You'll find out if you don't take SJ's advice. Take her advice.
I think that part of it though was that to me that stuff was always about armor. Like as in, to me, I thought that dressing up like that was like...
A mask?
Yeah, kind of. Like it was a way of...
Separating.
Well, I think part of it was like it was a way of
I'm
having...
not doing this for entertainment. Sorry, this is how we talk. I edit the podcast. I was actually kind of excited that you're going to see SJ live because there's...
It's so much worse.
I was editing this morning and okay, I'm going to do this in real time and I'm not going to edit this out. So it would be like... So it's almost like...
I sound much smarter.
I'm still going. Wait. I should have timed it this morning. I was literally just like, I can see the silence when I'm editing.
You know
and
what?
it's more than 30 seconds. I'm just going to assume I can cut that. Like, I'm not going to miss anything.
You know
Go on.
how like in like side mirrors they have that thing that's like items in the thing? Maybe there should be like a condition at the start of every episode that's like, just so you know.
We're not this eloquent.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you were talking about battle armor.
Oh, yeah. So like I think it was just like a way of preparing myself for going out in public because I was quite I was very anxious. Except I think it all fell apart when one time a friend of mine to paint me completely purple. And then I went out in public and I felt very weird. I was on this tram going to a party and I was like, please no one look at me. And I was painting completely purple with like huge flowers in my hair. Oh my God. Yeah.
Next slide, please.
Oh yeah.
So,
Like that. Kind of people like more purple.
So, like, I don't think it's a bad look. It just wasn't what you looked like. Like, you did because you dressed like that a lot.
You
But
said you never liked this. You
no,
only
I
just
never liked this.
You only just told me that today.
I told you this like a week ago. Way better. No, like, I don't know. I'm not aesthetically opposed to it. It's just it didn't feel like SJ, who I was engaged to and living with at the time. And now you're describing it. I'm like, well, that makes sense. You were trying not to look like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a way cooler person was what I was going for.
Yeah.
I actually wore that and then I had some event to go to afterwards. So first of
My
all,
grandma's
First of
90th.
all, wore this to Slut Walk. There's some context there. Also, I didn't realize that the underpants have a picture of a pug on them, but it really just looks like pubic hair. And people kept coming up to me and like laughing, and I was like, I don't get it. Then I had a kind of worky type thing to go to afterwards. So I took off the safety pins and I put like the dress bit down. I didn't have the key to the lock for the neck bit. So I had to go to this next thing. Like I took all my hair out and I just had like normal hair down, but I still had a collar on. Very cool.
I remember very early when we were dating. When we met, do you remember if I had blue hair or not? Because I'd been doing it before that and I did it after that, but I don't know if when we actually met if I had it.
No, I don't think you did.
Because you were.
I think that's why that was the time when you hadn't had blue hair before, and then I woke up, blue hair man, blue all over me.
Not over you, just
I cannot imagine a situation where there wasn't blue on me.
And you were quite upset because at the time you were like, I try really hard to dress in a way that attracts attention. When I'm standing next to you, I do not. Do you remember this?
No.
Yeah, you went on a little like rant about my blue beard because you were like, I can't feel special next to you.
Now I'm like, he can be the special one. That's so fine with me.
We got here tonight and she was like, you look very different to me tonight. So this is
This is us actually at Jessie and Wes's wedding.
So I didn't know you guys were coming tonight because I just didn't pay attention to this kind of thing. So we're going to talk about your wedding. Enjoy. Jessie and Wes are two friends of ours who may or may not be in the room sitting at that table. And they had a wedding where they asked...
Oh my God, they
It's the best
walked
wedding.
into their wedding. Like, as in, you know how like there's usually the wedding entrance bit, right?
They're like the step,
The music and stuff. They walked in as both parts of a pantomime horse. A unicorn! A pantomime unicorn!
Corrections from the audience.
Thank
do
you.
you remember what the invite said the dress code was?
I just remember it was a picture.
Do you guys remember?
It was a picture of a picture of a bird vomiting rainbows, and it said, "Holy fucking shitballs, we're getting married."
Do you remember what the dress code was for your wedding? Do you remember the wording? Do you guys remember getting married? Sorry, Jessie, where's Jessie?
I think it said something like whatever makes you feel hot or something.
Yeah, it was like a very broad general description. And before this, I dressed in like jeans and giraffe shirts. That was 90% of my wardrobe. And so for this one,
Oh my
SJ
God,
was
so
like,
many giraffe shirts.
yeah, they're good shirts. The best kind of shirt, giraffe shirt. SJ was like, they said to dress however you like. Can I dress you up? And I was like, yeah, I don't mind. Like, sure. You're going to be dressed weird. I might as well be dressed weird as well. And so she dressed me like this, which is, I think, all your clothes.
It is completely my clothes.
Right. And the pants you can't quite see, but they're like yellow and heavily patterned. And it was this outfit, ridiculous. And then halfway through the night was like, you're totally comfortable like this, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, I don't like,
I don't give a shit.
it's clothing. You know. It's bits of cloth on my skin. Why do I care what it is? She's like, you look great. You carry it, because I wasn't like, oh, I'm self-conscious. She was like, you should just dress like this all the time. And I was like, okay, like, sure, yeah, you buy me clothes, I'll wear them. And so that was the turning point for me. Do you remember this?
Not as well as you.
Well, for me, it was a big deal because I used to just wear jeans and giraffe shirts. That was like 95% of my wardrobe. Before that, I wore Hawaiian shirts.
Oh, no.
Because I like colors. I just really like bright colors. And so I wore Hawaiian shirts and my dad's jeans. And and boots. Yeah, I still hate them. I hate shoelaces, so I would wear boots because you never have to tie a shoelace. Turns out people judge you by what you're wearing is a thing I learned at the ripe old age of 24. So how old were we when we got together?
I was 21.
Oh, yeah,
No,
I would have been like
about
20.
to turn 22.
Yeah, I was about 24, 25.
The
How old
perfect
am I now?
moment to get married.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we bought a bunch of very colourful pants and very colourful shirts and shoes with laces, which is apparently a thing.
I feel like this may be too much detail, but okay.
And now I dress like this. Next slide.
He hasn't stopped wearing colourful pants since that day, is what we're saying.
And so this is a fairly, like this, everything in this photo, except for the shoes, are clothes that SJ bought me off ASOS. I like this outfit. We picked this one because there's like the clothes from the other person that we
My
both liked.
aesthetic used to be like clown chic, basically.
What's your aesthetic now? Biker schoolgirl.
I live in the inner north of Melbourne.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty fair. Oh yeah, that's you now. Very loud.
Yes, this is my kind of standard non-stage outfit. It's a bunch of block colours and a green chair that I carry with me at all times.
Do you know what's after this in the slideshow?
No?
Do you remember?
No. We put this together like 45 minutes ago.
Wait on. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, do you remember what's next?
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Okay, so we did an episode that has been our most popular / divisive / we did an episode about naked photos. And half the audience is like, yes, you did.
I feel the same way.
Have you listened to that one? Like, since? When did you last listen to that one is my question. I haven't. Fuck that shit. No, thank you. I'm doing another podcast called So This Is Love, which is on a hiatus for reasons that are boring. And it's a year delayed. So my husband and I, Roxy, recorded like every relationship chat we had and put it up with a year's delay. And that seemed like a good idea because it means you can avoid like controversial fights and stuff like that. It turns out you grow a lot as a person in a year. And so, like, the episode 20, Naked Photos of My Ex, was, like, 16 months ago. It was forever ago, and I've changed a lot. I don't know if SJ's changed a lot, but I've changed a lot since then. I have very different opinions, and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes people will email me being like, hey, I disagree with you. I'm like, yep, me too. Cool. On board. We're on the same page there. Yep. Let's start a Peter Hate
You're a
Club.
bit of a cunt when you're arguing. Me too. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. Good observation. Let's be friends. It sometimes works, it turns out. This is the same, but like with Roxy, we record fights. Like we had full-on fights. And I was a cunt. Like, I don't know if it's everyone or it's just me and no one else records everything they do. But
Okay, wait on.
Has anyone ever recorded themselves arguing? Right, so it might be everyone is a cunt. I'm just the only one with evidence of it. Language warning. I
actually recommend like
recording yourself
arguing. It's something.
It is something. And so I'm putting up episodes of this podcast and I remember the fights and I know they're coming and I know what a dickhead I was and I know the lessons I learned and I know that I'm going to upload this argument with the knowledge that I learned my lesson 6 months later and
But
I will be able to talk about that 6 months later again. So it's... What were you going to say?
But maybe people will email you about it now.
Yeah, people
you're
will.
like, don't worry. Hold on.
People will quite fairly judge me for the content that I put into the world. Like, that makes sense. So I can't be like, hey, here's me being a dickhead. Don't judge me for being a dickhead. Because, it's a weird situation to be in. And so we did a podcast about naked photos. And so I thought, to be fair, I'd put some naked photos of me in the slideshow. SJ was like, let's put a buffer in.
I feel like I think
audience.
you need to warn people or ask people for their consent.
Right, yeah. No. Good idea.
Just like there's no peen.
No,
like,
there's no peen. I don't have a penis, so that's not a problem. So hands up if you do want to see me naked.
Without peen, sans peen.
Sans peen. Hands up if you don't want to see me naked.
But
and hands up if you didn't put your hand up the first 2 times.
Okay, but like if you don't want to see, like you can close your eyes.
That's a handy tip for
That's
life.
effective, yeah.
If you don't want to see something, not while you're driving, but other times, it's quite appropriate. It's a good system.
I just don't want to see that red light.
We have 2. Number 1.
Look at your face. You look like, what's this? He's on like morning TV. He's got a moon face. Bert Newton. But if he was naked and a child.
Yeah, this is us. This is me when I was a kid. Context, I was younger. Number 2.
Oh, God.
I was not a lot younger.
No, how old were you here?
This was, Gavin will know.
21, 22.
21, 22. This is
Really,
me.
that old?
Yeah.
I thought this was like 16-year-old you.
No.
Oh, God. This is a very uninspiring photo of you. I love you, but it is. Also not naked. Not naked. You're wearing socks.
It's true. If you want your money back, tough luck. We never offered naked photos. That's a bonus. So that's the end of the slideshow. But in terms of fashion, what have we learned?
I don't know. Shit's complicated.
Shit's complicated. Yeah, no. I find fashion interesting. That's a very broad, boring statement. But I spent many years not caring in the way that every teenager is like, I don't care what I wear, so I'm going to pick clothes that tell people how little I care. And then I'll project this image of not caring so everyone will know for sure that I don't care, which is really important to me. And I live in Canberra, and I had friends who were like, hey, Peter, Hawaiian shirts, dad's jeans. And my dad is a large man, so I just wear a belt. Like, problem solved. They were like, let's go and buy you clothes that fit and aren't Hawaiian shirts. They're the 2 criteria for which we will go shopping. And so I came to Melbourne being like, I'm a little bit fashionable now. And SG was like, no, you are not. You are a notch above not fashionable.
No, not even.
SJ was like, this is not Hawaiian shirts and dad's jeans, but it's better than that. And so she would dress me up better than that. And then we had the wedding and I dressed even better again and then broke up with SJ. Hooray. Recommend doing that, everyone.
It's funny. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever dated people. And then...
What's our demographic?
And then
Has anyone here ever dated someone? About 10 of you. Okay, cool.
And then...
Good to know. This is an educational podcast. It's a horror story.
I don't know if you've ever dated people.
This is what it's like. Dating anyone, this is exactly what it's like all the time.
Holy fuck. Like, we were hanging out the other day, which we haven't done in real life in 2 years. And I was like, I can't believe we ever considered this. Had sex. No, like, the had sex portion is completely blanked from my memory. Like, I cannot remember.
Really?
Very little. Like, honestly.
It is very little. I mean...
Honestly, very little.
You get my joke? It's a penis joke.
Okay,
yep. Good. It's important, even if you don't laugh, that you know I was making a joke. Not about my penis, I mean ever. If I'm making a joke, I need you to know.
I am aware.
I read a bunch of jokes today. Do you want to hear some jokes that I read?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
So, you guys
My favourite joke at the moment. Why did the old man fall in the well? Because he couldn't see that well.
I'm going to cut that.
That's my favourite joke at the moment.
Okay.
SJ's heard it 4 times in the last 2 weeks. Go on.
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I
blanked
blanked it. I really have never heard that joke before.
Your reaction to that was very similar to your reaction when we were having sex, so it just all gets blanked.
So, you guys are people that have dated people.
About half, yeah.
And then have stopped dated those people, I imagine.
Who has stopped dating someone?
Great.
More people than have ever dated someone. Did anyone here with their ex? Did anyone bring an ex?
I did. My other ex wouldn't come. Didn't want to come. So, okay, do you guys know the campsite rule? So the campsite rule is like...
It's intense.
Hands up if you would like him to stop that.
About half.
About half, yeah.
The same people who have never dated.
I don't know
mean?
what's going on. Correlation, not causation. Correlation, not causation.
The campsite
So
rule.
So the campsite rule is where you should leave something as good, hopefully better than when you found it. So in a relationship, you want to kind of like leave the other person you're dating as good, if not hopefully better than when you found them.
I'm so curious.
So the thing is that I feel like in terms of fashion, you ended up better off than when we started.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
No, but the other point that I was going to make, which is actually a serious point, is that I think that the other thing is it's also really painful, if it's painful, to leave someone better than when you started them. Because you're like, fuck you. You were such a loser when I found you.
I gave you that. And now you're sharing it with other people. That was for me.
Yeah, no, like, so when we weren't talking, we weren't friends on Facebook, but every now and then I'd go in and have a look, have a gander, and I'd be like, oh, you're wearing all the clothes I bought for you. And dating hot new women now, and apparently you like cats now. Fuck you. There was a picture
Oh, yeah, there's a picture of me juggling 3 kittens.
that you used for your dating profile, and I was like, you have hated every cat you have ever met in my presence, and actively hated me talking to cats in your presence.
We could go down a long path here. Let's not. Do you feel that I left you campsite when I broke up
Oh,
with you?
yeah. What do you guys think?
They weren't there. Okay, yeah, sure.
Gavin was there.
So Gavin.
So, no, go on. So, I think that I was cooler, but I don't think that was your doing. So, that's there.
That's just going from being 21 to 23. Like, that's just a standard part of it.
Yeah. So, it's hard because, to be honest, after we broke up, I, like, really lost my shit. I think 6 months later, I was in, like, a psych hospital, and it took a really long time to kind of come back.
It was really far away.
Come on, man. Fuck you.
See, when we're recording, I can do this and just be like, didn't land, cut it. With an audience, that changes the dynamic. I'll calm down a bit.
Thank you. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that probably you left me with a lot more things that we did. We did a lot more things.
Time passed while we were together.
Time passed.
I was
We did
older.
some
You left
things.
me older than when we got together.
Yeah, but I think that maybe what happened was that afterwards, then you made up for it.
Like now.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is all you just making up
That's what the podcast
for all
is.
of that.
Yeah, no, I would give a very similar answer
Really?
without the psych hospital because I didn't go to one. Like,
Well, what about the fashion thing? You're forgetting all of the fashion stuff.
oh yeah. No, well, I mean, you left me cooler in some ways, and also
Completely broken in others.
true. We've not talked about the breakup, and we're not going to do that tonight. So
In fact, we are going to have a break
we're going to
right
have a
now.
little break up, and see, that's why I have to keep on going because some of them land. There's no system. I don't know why. I didn't think that was at all funny, but you guys did. And sometimes SJ does, and it doesn't make sense to me. I was really upset the other day, and SJ was saying that I should go down a dark hole with water in it and stone walls. And I know she meant well.
I'm really glad. So like before Peter was like, you'll get the real SJ, the one that's less eloquent. You'll get the real Peter, the one that's more of a bit of shit.
It's true. I edit myself very well. And we'll be back in
And think of your questions.
And think of questions. And anything else?
No.
Cool. We'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. Thank you so
Cool.
much. Woo! Hey guys, Peter from the future again. We have an outro this week from Marissa.
Thanks for listening to Being Honest with My Ex. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe to us on iTunes, leave a review, and tell your friends. Peter is my favorite Peter, and SJ is my favorite SJ, as well as my favorite Honor. They are both my favorite exes.
Thank you, Marissa. Thank you, our amazing Kickstarter backers who got me over here to Australia and let us record that show. We'll be back with the second half next week. And if you want to discuss it, as always, you can go to our subreddit, reddit.com/r/beinghonestwithmyex, or our Facebook group, the BMX Bandits, facebook.com/groups/beinghonestwithmyex. I will see you there. Bye. 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 Bye.